This is very distracting for people who have got a lot of money at stake for their retirement. And that can make people really worried about a lot of short-term stuff. I always talk about the noise versus the signal. So the financial noise is the stuff that Alan Kohler talks about on the news every night. No, it's not wrong what he's talking about. He's a good journalist. He knows what he's doing. But that's really irrelevant for you. If your target, if your horizon is measured in years, what happens on the markets from one day to the next is not really that relevant. And the history of this is, when I first became a journalist, the financial pages, no one ever read them. The only people who read them were people who maybe they had a corporate superannuation plan. And then what happened is they set up, defined contribution superannuation. Everyone had superannuation. They sold off things like Telstra and the Commonwealth Bank. Suddenly everyone had shares and they had an interest in the share market. And so finance moved from the back pages of the newspaper to the front pages of the newspaper. And the media organizations thought, well, there's really money in this finance coverage. Let's have more of it. In fact, why don't we put a finance spot right next to the weather report every night? Because, people like it. And it's like the weather. We can talk about it from day to day to day. That's fine. It's interesting to know what happened in the markets today. I'm not saying you shouldn't be interested, but the problem is that's not really relevant to you as an investor in the long term. Whether this company did this or this company did that, that's just micro stuff. It's not really that important. And from the media itself, they see it that way as well. When I was at the Financial Review, I used to say, why are we talking about these individual companies all the time? Unless you've got a lot of stock in that company, it's not really that interesting. Shouldn't we be talking about bigger themes? And it's easier for the media to cover little economic data releases and individual company announcements and what happened on the markets today to fill this void between the ads. And that's what I mean by financial noise. It's not really that relevant to people.
Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? The noise. And as someone who has been investing and studying investments for me, it's 25 years, but it still astounds me how the media and the news, they, as you said, we get the market reports every morning. This is what the US market did. This is what the Aussie market did. These are the best performers, worst performers, et cetera, et cetera. There's always some made up reason for something happening, which is always made up. I think I read a headline this morning where it said something like, we're expecting markets to drop off because the COVID fears are coming back or something like that. Like, how does anyone know, what COVID fears? Like, really? That's what is driving things. So there's all these silly reasons, but we tend to attach these silly reasons to explain what's happening